I
I
do
don't
get your
know.
point though, because
I have a problem with like all this AI bullshit. AI is
oh no,
great,
I do.
but I just want to play my game. Like, can you just give me a decent amount of VRAM and decent raster, and I'll just play my
The
game.
thing is, what I think is a bit naughty as well is they're making you pay for these cards, which are at price points that should run game at native at decent refresh rates, but they don't.
Well, they will.
They
Don't get me
will.
wrong, they're still great cards, but my point is they're leaning into AI bullshit, and it's not cool.
No.
I don't care about running Cyberpunk at 4K 3 million FPS if like okay, they were running at 250 FPS, at least 200 of those frames were fucking generated.
Mm.
Like it's not the game. I've played frame gen games, and it doesn't feel real. It feels you're playing at a high refresh rate. The input latency sucks though,
I've never really noticed an input latency.
because it's
Um,
not reducing the input latency in any way. It's just generating additional frames. So if your game runs like shit, it's still gonna feel like shit just at a higher frame rate. And
I've
now they're
never.
talking about let's splice in 4 frames in between each real one.
Mm.
Majority of your game's not even fucking real anymore.
Yeah, no. I do get your point. I and I think I'm being a bit more friendly towards them, but it's just because I've never really had a bad thing with DLSS.
The thing is, like, it's the VRAM.
It is.
The thing holding back Nvidia cards is VRAM, and they just
I
fucking
I
won't. They just won't give us more.
I feel like the 40 series, obviously
Do you
they
know what
had
the
to.
worst part is? I would get an AMD card, but they're not even going to compete at high end this year, so you fucking can't. And that's why they're
I
charging
will
hand over
I will
fucking fist for these
never
cards.
I will never get an AMD card.
I think they're fine. Honestly, I don't use ray tracing enough to even warrant it.
So I personally have Nvidia because I've never had a major issue with Nvidia cards. AMD, on the other hand, I've constantly had issues with their graphic drivers, had issues with their software, had performance issues with their cards. Um, but CPU is fine. I love an AMD CPU. Hate Intel, but no,
Speaking of
it's
Intel is literally like should be the king right now. That B580 they brought out.
I don't know.
12 gigs of VRAM for 4060 price. Are you fucking kidding me?
The new Intel cards are impressive.
The
They are
budget
make
king. It's the budget king.
they are making their
Undisputed budget
mark.
king. But
And
no
the
one's
thing
competing at
is,
the high end, and guess who's getting fisted for it? Me.
yeah, I
I'm
know.
gonna have to fork out my fucking life savings
Although
for a decent card.
Intel are getting there.
Yeah, not this generation, they're not.
Not this generation, but I reckon next generation they may be there or starting to get there. And that's just because their current new Intel card will happily do or run at 4K,
I think,
which is
personally,
impressive.
what they should do is they should figure out their fucking CPU problem first before they start doing GPUs again, because they
Well,
still have
yeah,
they're still in the shithole with that. Because guess what's gonna happen? AMD's not competing in GPU, so GPUs are fucking explosively expensive right now. And on
mm,
top of that, Intel aren't competing with CPUs, so AMD is gonna whack the fucking CPUs up as well. So the
yeah.
cost of your computer is just gonna double in a year's time because they
I
can. That's why Nvidia are charging 2 fucking grand for that card.
I can
It's not
almost
because it costs them that
guarantee
much. It's because
I
they
know what
want
your
to.
new build's going to be.
Have a guess.
So I'm assuming AMD CPU.
Yes.
Are you going to go for the 9000, the 9800 X3D?
99.
99. Are you going to go for 5080 or are you going 40 series?
Funny you say that. I'm still deliberating. Not 40
Because
series though.
so you're definitely going to go 50.
Mm-hmm. Might as well. They're roughly the same price.
They are. To be fair, the new 5080 is the
The
same price as
5080
mine.
compared to the 4080 Super are the same price.
Yeah.
So why would I? It wouldn't make sense for me to get a 4080 Super. If I was going to get a 40 series, it'd be the 4090, but that's more expensive.
The
So
thing is, as well, is on if you actually look at the like comparison charts that they have on their website, the native performance isn't that much difference, which is why I know I've just got my PC, but I was actually, depending on how well the new cards performed, I was actually tempted to
because the
upgrade.
thing, and that's another thing. In all of their shit, they've been comparing the 5080 to the 4080. They've not been comparing the 5080 to the 4080 Super.
No.
It's obvious that the uplift sucks on it. Otherwise, they
Yeah.
would have done that comparison to make it look more impressive.
Literally, the fucking comparison is, like you say, the 4080 and the 5080.
And
It's
guess
not
what?
the
The
4080
4080
Super.
fucking sucks because it was £1,200. And
Twelve
they
hundred
reduced
pounds.
the price for the
Twelve
4080
hundred
Super.
pounds, and it had fucking 12 gigs of VRAM.
Yes, you paid £100 for 1 GB of VRAM. Impressive, very impressive.
Whereas I obviously now have
16
a
gig is still for 4K is not enough.
It's not enough for 4K.
They're gonna be talking about this bullshit in frame generation, guys. What the fuck, bro?
So obviously, I'd say 40 series or high-end 40 series was a great move into 4K. They could have put more VRAM there. They chose not to. With the 50 series, it's going to be more of a move into 4K, but they're leaning more towards their AI